working. I think it's working. Let me get it just so, and we'll get started. Hello everyone! Thanks for being here on Wednesdays, scoping out every Wednesday at 8:30-ish, right? I always ask for just a little bit of grace. Sometimes we all need a little bit of grace. So I'm glad you're here, and today we're talking about, hey, I'm so glad you're here. Today we're talking about scoping out your curiosity, because we, as strong, powerful women, go out there and try to create big things in a big way, and all of the conventional, hi, I'm so glad you're here. All of the conventional advice tells us to, just work harder and dig in deeper. Good morning. And I'm going to offer just a little piece of, well, hi, tell me about where you're from. I'm going to offer just a little piece of perspective shift that might help you ease up on yourself a little bit in the things that you're building today. So if you are new to Periscope, I like Pennsylvania, lovely. I'm in Colorado, so we have milder winters than you do out there, which everybody keeps telling me I should stop bragging about Colorado because Colorado's going to get super full of people that love mild winters. So, hi, I'm glad you're here. For those of you who are new to... legal smoking, yeah, it's funny because now when I talk to people out of state and I say I'm from Colorado, the automatic assumption is that I'm a toker, which I think is so funny because I've lived here my whole life and it's not like as soon as it went legal. But yeah, I think we're going to start seeing that across the United States, which I'm actually very much in support of. So at any rate, for those of you who are new to Periscope, you're seeing some comments come up. You're seeing as people join, telling me about where you're from. You can do that in the little comment section. If you're new here, you can just type in, and you can practice that now. Just tell me hi and click send, and it'll come across my screen. And I actually encourage that as I talk today. I want you to send me comments and questions and let me know if I'm leaving something out or if I'm unclear, if you need some help clarifying something, or if you just have some comments. Hi, good morning. Then the next thing you can do on Periscope is tap your screen. Go ahead and do it now. If you tap your screen, you'll see some little hearts float up. Really what that does, perfect, just like that. What that does is if we were sitting in a room and I was talking, I'd be able to see you nod your head. Hi from Saudi Arabia. I'm so glad you're here. Must be like a totally different time of day for you. It's 8:30 in the morning here where I'm at. So I'm sure you've got a whole different clock going on where you are. But what the hearts do is they tell me, it's the same as if I were looking at you and you were nodding your head like, oh yeah, or there was applause. And I knew I was kind of on the right track and that you were getting what I was saying, that I was hitting home for you. So anytime you feel like, oh yeah, that's great, go ahead and click those hearts so that I know that I'm on the right track and giving you what you need this morning. The last piece about Periscope, if you're new, you might have just seen Suburbia Dropout just did it. Thank you, Colleen, for doing that. You can actually swipe to the right on your screen and you'll see some options show up underneath the map. One of them is a box with a little arrow that pops out. If you click that, it shares this opportunity with all of your followers. So you can try that too and let everybody know. I actually save these. The idea behind Periscope is that they're a 24-hour link. I save them. I put them on my YouTube. So what you're going to see me do next is give a nice long pause, and then I'm going to start this whole greeting all over again. So if you'll be patient with me, we're going to go ahead and give this a go, give it a start, and we'll get going talking about the benefits of doing that crazy thing that you feel like you need to do. So here we go. Hi, good morning. Happy Wednesday. I'm so glad you're here for today's Scoping Out. This is an opportunity for me to share some of the craziness in my own life. I am a certified professional life coach. I help high-powered women with all the trappings of success figure out that happiness piece. And that's really super important because we have a tendency to think that all of these outside things are going to bring us happiness. And when we find ourselves unfulfilled, sometimes we need a little nudge. And the reason I do these scopes is because I want you to see that even the person who develops these tools and does this work herself is still human and still has life issues that come up. And I want to show you a real practical application for all of these little mind shifts and the things that I do to improve my life, and hopefully by seeing that you'll see how easy it is, and you'll want to jump on board and do your own personal work, whether through me or whatever else you've got going on. It's our service to the world to heal ourselves. Good. I'm glad that felt good for you. So I am going to share a little story. It's a little bit personal, so I hope you don't mind if I kind of go there. I was thinking this week about what to talk about. And most of the time what I talk about is like that pain point for me and how I worked through it, and that thing that I did that was really hard, but I did it anyway. And this week, in all honesty, I'm at kind of a cruising point. And I thought, well, how can, just because I'm at a cruising point doesn't mean that I'm not, yes, thank you. This work is very brave. Just because I'm at a cruising point doesn't mean that there isn't still some consciousness I can bring to my process. So my next question is, all right, so what have I done well that has brought me to this cruising point that makes me feel good and stress-free and able to sleep at night and all of the wonderful things that I wish for all of you and everyone in the world, right? This is what popped to mind, so this is what I'm sharing. When I was a little girl, my mom was single. If you've been watching these for a while, you know that I have a bit of a difficult past, a bit of a difficult history. I've already spoken to you about writing the article about forgiveness toward my dad, who was a criminal, and the police that killed him, and all of those things. Well, post that phase of my life, my mom had her own addiction issues, and she dated very dangerous men. And one of them in particular was pretty horribly abusive, physically, emotionally, mentally, the whole 9 yards. And I remember as a little girl, I was probably about 6 or 7. And I asked my mom, I said, why does Bill hit? Why does he do what he does to us? And she said, well, honey, that's how he was raised. That's what his parents did to him. And that's all that he knows. And I had a moment. I mean, it really was a flash. Like I couldn't connect the dots between that. And my very next question to her was, did he like it? And she says, well, no, honey, I'm sure that he didn't like it. And then I said, then why would he do it to someone else? I didn't know the words empathy at the time. Oh, thank you, sending me a cuddle. I didn't know the words empathy at the time. I didn't know the word sociopath at the time. I didn't know any of the things that I know now. But I knew enough to go, okay, I'm making mental notes. As a 5, 6, maybe 7, I can't remember how long they dated, but I remember thinking as a pretty young kid, I was taking mental notes. This is awful. This is a horrible way to live. And when I'm an adult, I'm sure as hell not going to do this to other people, right? Like that's pretty clear to me. So how is it he got to adulthood and made the decision, what I assumed was a conscious decision, to carry forward this horrible, it's not a tradition, it's a habit, whatever this is for him, right? So even as a little kid, I started going, what makes a person do something that's so counter to human nature? Human nature really is loving. Human nature is kind. And the pieces that I had started to piece together, or the puzzle that I had started to piece together, started that young for me when I went, there's a disconnect here. This doesn't make sense. If we're loving kindness and we are compassionate by nature, and I really truly believe that we are, what happens to a person that breaks that natural tendency? What happens in a human being that makes them treat someone else poorly, horribly? That was my first foray into this curiosity about psychology. I didn't even know it at the time. I had no clue that those were the questions I was asking. It was about human behavior. What's interesting is all my life moving forward, I kept tapping into this curiosity about human behavior. And then next, the brain. And then next, and it never occurred to me to do it as a vocation. I was just curious. So all the things that I did always included this dumb little book or this dumb little course. Do you guys know how this is when you're like, this doesn't make any sense to my life, but I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to do it anyway? I'm so glad to see that this resonates with you, because really what was happening as I began to gather information in my head that moving forward in my life would inform pretty much everything that I did. And, you know, we have a tendency as Westerners in particular to justify the action that we take. Well, you know, I want to take this course in a couple winters ago for me, it was quantum physics. I don't know. But, you know, the next thing is like, okay, I want to take this course, but, you know, it takes time away from something. We're very well as adults of the opportunity cost, right? If I'm studying this course, that's not time with my kids. It's not time in my business. It's not time making money. It's not time cleaning the house. So why the hell do the course? And yet, unbeknownst to you, what begins to happen over time is that thing you get curious about moves you forward. Moves you forward closer and closer to the thing that you're actually really meant to do here on this planet. So if you fast forward, as I gathered information on psychology, the brain, human behavior, I ended up being a currency trader who could suddenly make sense of large trends based on human behavior. I could understand a chart, red candles, green candles, closing higher than they opened, opening lower than they closed, you know, all of these things. I started, thank you, I'm so glad to hear this. They started to put all of these scraps that I had been out there gathering throughout my life, they put them in a unique context that made me really good at what I did. So because I got good at that, people asked me to teach them how to trade currencies. So that's what I did. And then because I started talking about human behavior and our propensity for fear in a trade, or fear to take the trade, zealousness, greed once we're in the trade, how money can change who we are and what we think about ourselves and our role in this world. All of those conversations, the people who started to go there with me had the most success financially. Now, I didn't set out learning about human behavior, psychology, the brain, and all of that so that one day I could be a currency trader. That wasn't even on my radar. I was actually doing currency trading to support an acting career, if you can believe it. It's the randomest thing. It didn't make any sense. But I kept taking these steps in curiosity, not out of obligation, not out of logistics and what made sense, but because I was curious about it. Of course, I was paying my bills, doing whatever you do to pay your bills, but I gave meaning to my curiosity, not the other way around. I didn't give meaning to the thing that I did to pay my bills. I gave meaning to the things that lit me up inside. Yay! I'm so glad this is hitting home for you, because I want you to light up inside. Everybody deserves to light up inside. And what begins to happen is this amazing journey just sort of unfolds. You meet people you didn't think you were going to meet, and this hardship ends up serving you because it moves you closer and closer to the thing you're meant to do. And now I took that experience coaching traders and moved it into this experience coaching anybody who's in that situation where their outward living, the vestiges of success, the home, the car, the right relationship, all of the right things that we do, right? To feel like that's what we're supposed to do as a contributing member of society. When that falls short, the next big question is this all there is? Is this all there is? Is this what I'm doing? I'm waking up every day and all I'm doing is paying my bills, right? You guys feel this. I'm so glad you're letting me know, because you're not the only ones. And we all have those days when we're just like, this can't be the reason I'm on this planet. So what begins to happen as you face that, as you take those turns into your curiosity, this path begins to be revealed. It's an unfolding. We tend to think that we've got to create our life and manhandle our success and make things happen. And I'm not saying that you do this in lieu of action. Certainly action is critical to making anything happen in your life. But I'm saying that the genesis of that action comes from a different place. It doesn't come from a logical, well, this is what I should do, and this is what's going to make the most money, and this is what's going to make the most sense for my retirement plan, and that trip I want to take, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It comes from a different place. It comes from, I want to do this thing because I want to do it. And when you're in that place, think about the last time you picked something up just because it was fun. You didn't have to create the bandwidth for it. You didn't have to talk yourself into it. And it became that thing you did in your pastime just because it fed you in a certain way. That's the kind of curiosity I'm talking about. And the reason why it seems like a crazy thing to do is because no one else is telling you that you should do it. It's not in that book about success. It's not in that book about the marketing plan. I recently started learning German just because I wanted to learn German. And I had Germans capitalize all their nouns. I had no idea. So everything, offense, yeah, it is a little hard. I'm worse at French, though, I've got to be completely honest. There's a lot of parallels in German that help me remember the words. It's, you know, the order that things go in the sentences, and my pronunciation is horrible, let's be frank. It's really bad. But the big thing for me was I'm best at Spanish. I can do Spanish, but I've had more practice at Spanish, so. But at any rate, here I felt this, okay, let's learn German. Figured out that they capitalize their nouns. Why is that even important? I mean, yeah, okay, take a test, capitalize the noun. But it got me thinking about how I have been raised to believe that something of importance gets a capital, right? A title, a name, the title of a person like Dr., Mr., Mrs., right? That we have identified what's important by what's capitalized. Well, Germans, if it's a thing, it's capitalized. I didn't even realize I'd made this assumption. I didn't even realize this, but it makes me wonder, do Germans have more of a community feel? Is there something about the way Germans look at, and I don't know if this is true or not, at society, at their place in it, simply because everything's equally important? It just makes me wonder. It makes me curious. So why was I even bringing that up? Oh, I didn't take that course. I'm still learning. I'm still in the midst of it. I'm still suck at it. But I didn't do that because I felt, you know, one day I'm going to teach in Germany and this is going to serve my larger life goal of moving. I don't know, maybe I will, and maybe I'll be having a different scope then going, I had no idea I was going to live in Germany. And won't that be fun? The idea is, though, is when you take that step from a place of curiosity rather than obligation, other things open up for you. You not only have the bandwidth to do the thing that you're curious about, you have the bandwidth to search it for meaning. You have the bandwidth to discover something about yourself through the process. Does that make sense to everybody? I'm glad we got some questions and some comments. Yay! I'm glad it's making sense. That makes me so happy. So whatever that crazy thing is, does anybody out there have a crazy thing that you're on the fence about? I'm just curious because you came to this one, right? Like, what is that thing that you want to do? I'd love to hear about it. So whether you comment here or you comment on in the comment box on the blog or the YouTube channel, I'd actually be really curious to find out what that crazy thing is that you're on the fence. I love doing difficult things. Me too. Boy, if there isn't a fast track to personal growth and development, it's to take on a challenge. I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way. And it fuels me like nothing else in my life fuels me. So I'm glad to hear that you're like that too. I think that's pretty friggin' cool. So I'm going to give you one last parting shot, but before I do that, calendar of events, just to let you know where we're at. Today is the first class of this session's Fail to Win. We're going to start that here in just a few minutes at 9 o'clock. That runs from 9 to 10:30. And then if you're a lovely member, we have coaching today at 11. I'll see you there. So that's pretty exciting. Next Wednesday, 8:30. Hope to see you back here on this scoping out. And these are all mountain time timings. And also next Wednesday, yay, I'm glad you're coming back. Ah, we get to spend time together. I get excited about these things. Also next week at 11, or next Wednesday at 11 is Conscious Transitions. If you are a Conscious Transitions student, we will be having the office hours for that. And then remember, next Thursday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time is the Inside Scope, and that's where I answer your questions. Doug from Michigan sort of mirrored and voiced some of the questions I got last month that I've saved for this month because they're kind of about getting organized and figuring out how to give yourself a boost when you're when you're procrastinating and not really focusing on what you're supposed to do. So we're going to talk about that at the Inside Scope next Thursday as well. So the parting shot here for you as we close this out today is I want you to remember, last week on Scoping Out, we talked about what success really feels like, the bumps and the bruises that we take, and we don't really understand a level of success that we've gone through until it's over. Remember that? I want you to remember that as you take these steps in curiosity. We've talked about taking challenging steps and taking on a challenge as a way to grow yourself personally, and that's very, very true. And remember that when those challenges come, when those things come that feel like, oh, I finally got on track and now I'm being derailed and da-da-da-da-da, that is just a story you've told yourself. That's just habitual. It is not the truth. In fact, what is really potentially going on for you is you are getting the exact conditions you need to build yourself and grow yourself into that next level. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad you're here and asking questions and talking to me. This is so much better as a two-way street. I just love it so much. So remember to be kind to yourself on the journey, whatever journey you decide to take out of curiosity, whatever that crazy thing is that you decide to do, and be good to yourself. That's it. Be kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself gives you the energy to be kind to others. And when we're kind to others, we are slowly but surely improving this world and bringing kindness all the way around. So go out there, do your best, create a great week, subscribe. I'll put links and stuff up here to some of the courses and things that I talked about. And stay in touch with me. Let me know how you're doing. Thank you. This has been lovely, and you are lovely. Take care.